Hello, good evening, and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Tonight on the program, we take a look at 2027 politics against the backdrop of rising insecurity, alongside many of the existential challenges that Nigerians continue to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has now formally registered with the ADC, the African Democratic Congress, at his home in Adamawa State, promising to remove the APC from power. His move has drawn sharp responses, including from former Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole, who dismissed Atiku as a serial loser who never stabilizes any party he belongs to. At the same time, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is tightening his own political structure ahead of 2027. He recently just picked Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, to drive mobilization and coordinate his re-election bid. These political shifts are unfolding as Nigerians continue to express their concerns about the worsening security situation in the country in light of repeated attacks and abductions across many parts of the country. Tonight, we'll be speaking with political analyst and commentator Jide Ojo. Much later, we'll be joined by Dr. Ayo Kule, who will unpack the security side of the conversation. But first, let's bring you up to speed with the latest political developments of the day.
Oshiomhole and APC Zenziduru criticized former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, calling him a serial loser who has failed to reform or stabilize any party he joins. Their comments followed Atiku's registration with the African Democratic Congress, where he picked up his membership card earlier on Monday. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma as the Renewed Hope Agenda Ambassador ahead of 2027. Uzodinma will lead APC outreach, engagement and mobilization for the coming election cycle. Governors from the 19 northern states will meet on Saturday, November 29, to discuss rising security concerns across the region. Peter Ahemba, aide to the Nasarawa State Governor, confirmed the plan in a call with Daily Trust. Bandits kidnapped 8 people in Bisirawa village, Tsanyawa local government area of Kano State. The attackers struck between 11 p.m. and midnight on Monday, taking 2 men and 6 women. A source said there is still no information on their whereabouts.
Right, some of the latest developments there in the polity. Just to bring you up to speed, a breaking news, the past 30 to 1 hour plus. The latest on the Kebbi schoolgirls abduction is that they have been rescued and are about to be returned home. At least that confirmation is about to be made by the Kebbi State government. But of course, we've already heard from the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Naniga, who had in a post on X just confirmed the return of 24 of those schoolgirls that were abducted just a little over a week ago in Kebbi. Let's bring in our guest, Mr. Jide Ojo, political affairs analyst and commentator for a lot of the political talks ahead of 2027. Mr. Jide Ojo, as always, a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining the conversation this evening. It's good to see you again.
My pleasure, Malam Abdullahi. Good evening.
Right. Before we talk about the politics of the day, your 2 cents on what appears to be back-to-back success stories regarding the abductions. We saw the Eruku church worshippers, 38 of them returned in a very speedily manner. The latest one is in Kebbi, a little over a week later. We understand that another non-kinetic sort of negotiation has been reached and the schoolgirls are on their way home. What do you make of the developments of the past 72 hours?
Well, I think it's heartwarming news, and to put the minds of the parents at rest, given the fact that many are skeptical about whether their children or these students and the children of these parents will return home safe. We know once an abduction takes place, it's a 50-50 thing. While you may think efforts will be made to release the abductees, sometimes even when ransom are paid, not all those who are abducted get released. I recall that in the case of, Chibok schoolgirls, Dapchi abduction, not all of them return safely to their families. So to that extent, I think we should commend the effort of the federal government and the state government in securing the release of these students in Kebbi and the worshippers in Erugu. Unfortunately, for the Kebbi schoolgirls, their vice principal paid the supreme price while trying to shield these students. He was murdered, and I learned the vice principal had 9 children and a wife that he left behind. I watched this brother pleading that the family of the deceased vice principal should be given scholarship. But that's to tell you that prevention is always better than cure. I saw the foot. I'm seeing the footage of the returned Kebbi abducted students. I'm happy for their parents. I pray that they will never go through this kind of trauma all their lives again. But we must learn the right lesson, Malam Abdullahi, because this trauma will be with these students for the rest of their lives. They are very young and impressionable. In fact, while these students of secondary school, the one in the Catholic school that were abducted were actually minors, primary school students who are under 10 years of age. About 250 of them are yet to be accounted for. And I just pray that the same success story that visited the Erugu abductees and the MAGA secondary school students will also come the way of the Catholic private school in Niger State.
Right.
It's so out-trending and out-warming at the same time, but we just hope that government will be able to put a paid to these abductions. You just said in the background to this discussion that another set of abductees abduction has happened in Kano State. I read earlier on this evening that even in a neighboring town to Erugu, Ishakpa in Kwara State, about 11 people were also abducted yesterday or thereabout. So it's a long chain that government must find a very rapid response to prevent this kind of abduction so that Nigerians can really be at rest.
Right. And do you understand where a lot of people see this as glass half full and glass half empty? Because there are question marks about the nature of this rescue operation, quote unquote rescue operation, because the nature in which these abductees were returned has raised questions about what went into those negotiations. The spokesperson of the president, Bayo Nanaga, during an appearance on one of the national television stations, said there were conversations between DSS military operatives with the bandits, which led to some sort of amicable understanding about the release of the churchgoers, and now many people are drawing the same conclusions with the Kebbi situation. He couldn't confirm nor deny whether ransom was paid, but do you share those concerns about the kind of relationship the Nigerian government has with these bandits?
Yeah, I do. I worry. In fact, this evening I was watching news earlier before coming on this program, where on one of the news channels it was reported that the House of Reps is either trying to pass a bill or resolution or motion that government officials should stop negotiating with bandits. I recall that there was a Senate resolution some years ago, maybe during the 9th Senate, where it is said that there should be no negotiation with bandits. This is easier said than done. None of those who are passing this resolution and motion or even trying to pass a bill will look the other way if it were to be their children that were in the kidnappers then. So it's a very dicey catch-22 situation. Yes, we know for a fact, and don't forget, Malam, early this year, Malam Nasir El-Rufai was accusing his successor, Senator Obasani, of negotiating with bandits and paying as much as 1 billion naira to bandits in Kaduna State, which the state government denied, but also hit back and said even Malam El-Rufai himself was paying ransom to bandits when he was in government. But the flip side of this ransom payment, if actually it happens, is that this will embolden the bandits to acquire more sophisticated weapons, to also recruit more hirelings, more members into their criminal gang, and inflict worse pains on the communities. In fact, yesterday it was said that a particular bandit kingpin in Katsina State has levied the community to bring 50 million. Otherwise, there will be consequences. So these people, the more you negotiate and pay ransom to them to secure release of abductees, the more they will acquire more sophisticated weapons, the more they will recruit more members, and the more they will terrorize the communities where they operate. So it's a catch-22 situation. You cannot rule out negotiation, but you also must know that negotiations have consequences, because you cannot preempt and prevent that this will be the end. More so, as many of these bandit leaders have seen it as a very rewarding criminal enterprise that pays higher, gives them a luxurious lifestyle they can never dream of. So that is the challenge with handling this kind of very dicey situation.
Right. Okay. Let's switch gears now and talk about the politics of the day. This week, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar officially became a member of the ADC. No surprise there, because we saw this coming, didn't we? Your 2 cents about some of the reactions that trailed his official registration. He had quite a lot to say. He called APC an evil political party, which is a part of the political rhetoric of the opposition. Not sure I've heard this before from the former vice president, but he's overly very critical about the APC. But then you heard from people like Adams Oshiomhole, who dismissed what Atiku is bringing to the table, whether or not he's a threat to the APC. Your 2 cents on the events of the last 24 hours, the back and forth, as well as what is shaping up to be yet another huge contest come 2027.
Well, it's not coming to me as a surprise. We are already in political season. Don't forget that we are barely some 14, 15 months to the next election. At least we know that the next general election will be in February, March 2027, and this is already end of November. So plus or minus, we are looking at maximum of 15 months from now. And so we are already entering that political season. Even when it's not very close, there have always been these political jibes among politicians, chieftains, and all of that. I watched the interview where Oshiomhole was, eating at Atiku and claiming that he's a serial loser and all of that. But I wrote in my column in the Punch newspaper when APC welcomed the political juggernauts into his fold around April, May this year. I said, APC, watch your back. ADC is coming. Unlike you, I'm surprised that Vice President Atiku Abubakar eventually made up his mind to formally join ADC. The reason being that he had opportunity to have done this months back. So why was he hesitant? Was he trying to study the situation? I recall that his chairman in Jada Ward in Adamawa State recently gave him up to December 31 to either join the party formally or lose opportunity to join. So him making up his mind on November 24, more than about 5-6 months, when he, in a symbolic fashion, identified with the juggernauts that went to join the ADC. I think he was trying to weigh his chances and all of that. In fact, my own reading was that peradventure he wants to wait till INEC will formally register the 8 new political parties that they said have been pre-qualified. Don't forget, Mala Abdullahi, that before the pre-qualification of 8 political parties, there are 172 political associations seeking recognition. And there was this particular ADA that people have touted as the party that the opposition elements were trying to use to realize their political ambition for 2027. And incidentally, that ADA is among the 8 pre-qualified political parties. So when I saw the hesitation or hesitancy on the part of Atiku Abubakar, I was of the opinion that maybe he doesn't want to hastily join the ADC so that he doesn't also opt out and join ADA when it's eventually registered. But it seems like he has done his calculations and feel that ADC is still the best platform for him to realize his ambition in 2027. We wait to see how all of this will pan out ultimately.
Right. I mean, obviously this week, I believe yesterday, or is it earlier in the day, he's marked his 79th birthday. You do the math, before the next general election, he's heading towards age 81. Is that going to, in any way, shape or form, you believe, going to have any sort of political impact on whether Atiku Abubakar is the man to beat, or the man, at least they will face off with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the ADC come 2027?
Actually, that's one of the albatross that Atiku Abubakar brings to the table. Many people are very wary that voting an 81-year-old man in 2027 would be suicidal. Even though he is known to be in very good health, he has never been in the news for medical tourism. But we will not know because he lives abroad most times. I think he lives more in Dubai than in Nigeria. So even if he goes for a medical checkup, we will not be in the know. More so that in the last 15 years or thereabouts, he's been out of government and he's been a private citizen, even though he continues to contest for election. But I think that age will be an issue for him. Although Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu too will be around 7, I don't know, I think he celebrated 78th birthday this year or whatever. So they will be like age mates. But the advantage that Tinubu will have over Atiku is that incumbency. And the fact that, he's also as rich or if not richer than Atiku Abubakar. So the power of incumbency will be to Tinubu's favor. The party has 25 governors or thereabout now. And, he has a lot to campaign for compared to Atiku, who will be campaigning more on promissory notes. And we haven't also heard from Peter Obi. Will Peter Obi join Atiku in ADC, or he will wait for the registration of ADA? Because he is also one of those who have been very hesitant to formalize his membership of ADC. And during the August 16 by-elections, he did campaign for ADC and said his supporters should vote for ADC. Thus far, ADC has not been able to woo any serving legislator or governor, including the children of some of his chieftains. I had expected that the son of El Rufai would have joined ADC by now. I had expected that the son of David Mark, the lady who is in House of Reps, will have joined his father in ADC. But none of them have had their children openly declaring for ADC rather.
Right.
And then they still remains members of the APC.
Right.
So we wait to see how all of this will unfold. But suffice to say that Atiku will have a lot. I don't even know whether he will have the stamina to do an effective campaign in 2027.
Okay.
Given his age at that time.
Right. It's safe to also add that the likes of Adamu Atiku Abubakar is still serving in the PDP administration of Ahmadu Umaru Finchu in Adamawa State, is still a member of the PDP. But talk to me about the two individuals that you just mentioned. Peter Obi is neither here nor there. I mean, he says he's still a member of the Labour Party. He says he's still a supporter of the coalition movement that has adopted ADC. We know already that Malam Nasir Rufai has picked up his membership of the SDP. Not necessarily sure whether he's going to ditch the SDP to join the ADC, but does this particular move by Atiku Abubakar make him the front runner for the flag bearer of the ADC come 2027?
Exactly why Peter Obi is scared. Because Peter Obi obviously wanted a very good, should I say soft landing, or he wants to be in a pole position to win the ticket. If he goes into primary for presidential primary with Atiku Abubakar, given the history of Atiku, that is a big spender when it comes to, contesting for party primaries, Peter Obi may lose to Atiku, and that will mean Peter will not be on the ballot in 2027, and the best that could be arranged will be a repeat of 2019 experiment where he was a running mate to Atiku Abubakar. And the obedient movement have told him in uncertain terms that they will not mobilize support for him if he's not on the ballot, if he wants to play second fiddle. That's number one. They have also told him that if he intends to do one term, they will also not vote for him. He has made a promise to do one term, the same way that Rotimi Amaechi and Atiku Abubakar has also openly said they were going to do one term. So that leaves Peter Obi with either staying back in the Labour Party, help the Labour Party to resolve its intra-party crisis, or join one of the political parties that will be registered. I believe maybe before the end of this month or latest next month, INEC should officially publish the name of the 8 pre-qualified political associations. And that will mean perhaps Peter Obi will be able to officially join any of them, because with Atiku formally picking membership of the ADC and openly saying that he has not said or that he has not told anybody that he will not contest in 2027, it means that Peter Obi, if he formally joined ADC, will have to slug it out with Atiku Abubakar. And the irony of it and the dilemma of it for Peter Obi is that if he picks the ticket of ADC, he will be contesting against a fellow Southerner, which is President Bola Tinubu. If Atiku picks the ticket of ADC, he will be contesting against a Southerner. But don't also forget the so-called gentleman's agreement. The power will move from north to south after every 2 successful electoral terms of every president. So Buhari has done 8 years. It is believed that the South should do 8 years. And Tinubu is about completing his first term. So, these are permutations that will influence voters' decision in 2027.
Right. And just before we go, let's touch base with two particular issues. The president's choice of Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State to be the ambassador of the Renewed Hope campaign. Talk to me about what you think the president is playing out here and how apparently the APC has made quite a lot of inroads in the southeast. Governor Hope Uzodinma was pretty much the experiment there because he was the first APC governor in the region, and now there are quite a multiple set of governors, not just in the southeast but in the south side. What do you make of his choice of Hope Uzodinma to become ambassador of the Renewed Hope agenda in his bid for 2027?
Incidentally, let me correct you. Hope Uzodinma wasn't the first APC governor in the southeast. It was Rochas Okorocha.
Right,
it was
right.
Rochas that first joined in 2013 when he took a faction of ABGA to join the APC. And luckily, his successor, Hope Uzodinma, after the Supreme Court decision, remember it was, the former Deputy Speaker, Uche, is it Uche, that won the election before the Supreme Court nullified. You said?
I said Ihedioha.
Yes, Emeka Ihedioha, who was of the PDP, was there for some months before the Supreme Court gave it to Hope. And since Hope joined, we have also had Dave Umahi, who joined and also was able to deliver APC in the last election, where Ngufuru, also of the APC, is governing Ebonyi State, just like Dave Umahi. And then recently is Peter Mbao of Enugu State. So they've won 3 out of 5 states. And even Alex Oti, who is of Labour Party, we don't know whether it would defect before 2027, given the fact that his own faction of Labour Party is still having a raw deal with the Julius Abure faction. And if he chose to leave, maybe he will also be heading in the direction of APC. But for Charles Oludo, he has said he will not leave ABGA, and there is a working arrangement that even if he is in ABGA, he has already endorsed President Tinubu for the second term.
Right.
Now, in choosing Hope Uzodinma as ambassador and chief campaigner, I think President Tinubu saw a man who is loyal to the core as the chairman of Progressive Governors Forum, which has about 25 members in his board. I don't know whether he's also the overall chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, but I know he's the chairman of Progressive Governors Forum. And he's a second-term governor, so he's not going to be bothered about re-election in 2027. So he's already serving his second and final term. So I think loyalty, the fact that in fact, Hope Uzodinma has been governing Imo State from Abuja. Or if you get my point, he's almost always at every event that President Tinubu is attending. So it's been his man Friday all along. So it's not surprising to me that is the right choice that has been made as the ambassador of the Renewed Hope agenda.
Okay. We have to go, but I need your quick reaction to the developments of the PDP. I mean, we've been talking about what's been happening with opposition camp, the ruling party camp, and one party who has stood tall in Nigerian politics has been PDP. Last week has been dramatic, to say the least. It's been a week now since the closure of the secretariat of the PDP. I guess everybody is working from home now, from both factions. Your 2 cents about where PDP is right now and what it says about where the party could be in the months to come.
PDP is in a coma, medically speaking, is in a coma, because now it's openly factionalized. We have been thrown back to the era of new PDP about 2013, 2014. Remember when Kawu Baraje emerged as the factional chairman of PDP around that 2013, 2014. So we are back to the era of PDP and new PDP, because now we have faction loyal to Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister. We have faction loyal to Seyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, and Bala Mohammed. So the two, as neither of the two is recognized by INEC. Even the convention that was held in Oyo State, I'm not sure that INEC has officially endorsed or approved, because it didn't even bother to go and observe that. But the issue is that people have said, oh, whether INEC observed it or not does not matter. The issue is on appeal. The Justice Omotosho's ruling is on appeal. We don't know what the Court of Appeal will say. Maybe when they get to Supreme Court, we will know for sure whether PDP will even be able to field candidates in 2027. But things are not auguring well for the party. Like I said, medically speaking, PDP is in a state of induced coma, and only God knows what happens if it will eventually come out of the coma to be a virile opposition ahead of 2027.
Mr. Jide Ojo,
it's very sad anyway.
Mr. Jide Ojo, fantastic analysis as always. I'm not sure a lot of the PDP folks would agree with your Coma reference, but hey, to each his own, isn't it? Thank you so much for the analysis this evening. I appreciate you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.